archaeologist and official representative of the Greek government. He demonstrates the position of the pottery and later discusses the mystery of the wall.
Beautiful, but stones mixed up to turn it over. Remettez-le ici. Soulevez-le. Voilà. It was like this on the bottom. I think in museum it's very interesting.
C'est très curieux. Very strange. C'est des bateaux qui ont jeté ces...
Equally baffled by the immense deposit, Colonus hazards a guess that the pottery has been discarded over long periods by the people living on the peninsula. But Cousteau disagrees, points out that the pottery is too far from shore.
So if it was falling from here, it would be there. It is not there, it is here. Ah, bizarre, hein?
Under the watchful eye of Colonus, the Calypso team is permitted to gather examples of the pottery and bring them to the surface, a cautious and laborious process. Many of the pots Cousteau discovers have become sanctuaries for small fish. One large bowl now is the residence of a girelle, a fish which punctually buries itself in the sand to rest each day according to its own inner clock.
Ah oui, le voilà. Et la girelle?
Sadly, the girelle is sent house hunting as Falco brings her former home on deck.
Lazare, you see here, on this side, little fish were living. That was the home of the little fish. Allez doucement. Le cadeau, moi. Ah! Regardez ça!
Day by day, a growing array of pitchers, small two-handled amphoras, and bowls are brought up from the great reef of pottery in the bay. Almost without exception, Colonus declares, they belong to the Minoan civilization, which suddenly collapsed in the middle of the 15th century before Christ.
All Minoan?
All Minoan.
Huh?
Yes.
All this is Minoan. That is gorgeous. This is the most beautiful. Ah! Ça, c'est beau, hein? Magnifique. Très belle. Ça fait plaisir de le toucher.
Yes,
you see, to my opinion, pots like this were not thrown away. They were not thrown away. It must be an accident because they are beautiful and at this time they were valuable, I'm sure. So they cannot have been thrown away. There must have been a big accident.
A courageous diver, though lacking the prolonged daily experience of the Calypso team, Colonus now makes the descent to examine the pottery wall for himself. Awed and delighted by the vast display below, Colonus returns to the Calypso deck, laden with treasures.
So, how is it? Minoan. Huh? Minoan? Minoan, really? We found some pieces very small. This. Oh, beautiful. This is the same with deer. We found deer without this. Magnifique. That's very complex. Cap, small cap. How old is that? How old? About 2,000 before Christ. Before Christ? Yes.
Among the artifacts he has salvaged is a curious cup, whose handle has been placed on the inside, perhaps to protect the most breakable part. It is, in Falco's opinion, a questionable advantage when to pour the sauce, one has to put his fingers in it. Wishing to make a more extensive investigation of the site, Cousteau now deploys the Jc-Odyssey, the compressor-driven suction pipe. Although a larger pipe is used in the excavation of wider areas, a narrower probe, or so-called ballpoint, such as the one here employed, is more efficient in making test penetrations in a random pattern. Working at the depth of 120 feet, the Jc-Odyssey throws up an underwater shower of debris as it is moved from one location to another. At first, only a few minor artifacts are found. Then, almost everywhere, buried under 2 feet of sediment, the Jc-Odyssey reveals a large number of building stones with chiseled contours. Neither a rise in the water level nor the remote possibility that they were lost as part of the ship's cargo satisfactorily explains their presence so far offshore. Scattered widely, the stones appear to have been hurled from the settlement on the peninsula by some colossal force. With Colonus and the young interpreter, John Mark Eulerus, Cousteau goes ashore to explore the site of the old port town once built along the peninsula. More and more, Cousteau is beginning to share some of the views of such scholars as Frost, Luce, Gallinopoulos, and Marinatos, who argued that the collapse of Minoan power and the evidence of widespread destruction throughout the eastern Mediterranean were all related to the same vast geologic upheavals. Everywhere, atop the peninsula overlooking the bay, the shattered remains of tiny Minoan houses lie around them.
1 meter 25. Only. And about 3 meters. It comes up to here. 2 meters. How is it that these houses, these habitations are so small, so narrow?
Πώς έτσι και όλα αυτά τα σπίτια είναι τόσο μικρά και τόσο στενά? Ναι, αυτά τα σπίτια είναι τόσο μικρά γιατί είναι χαρακτηριστικό αυτής της εποχής. Ίσως να ήταν κατοικίες, ίσως εργαστήρια. Νέα συγκέντρωσης.
Colonus explains that both in dwellings and workshops, an assembly of small rooms was more stable and was characteristic of the time.
This enormous wall, it's not very thick, but it's very long. And it's on the top. What is it?
Συνεχίζεται από εδώ. Εδώ πέρα. This is a whole building which is over there, and which is at the upper part of the city. And all around this palace are the houses, the warehouses, the habitations and the shops which surrounded the palace.
But it's all flat and destroyed. I think I can imagine what happened in this place and all over the Mediterranean. You know, the problem of Crete